good, everybody out there? Thanks for tuning in to another episode of the Let's Talk Indie podcast, where we talk about everything related to independent entertainment. I'm your host, Dron Alexander, and I want you to walk with me for a second. Imagine, you a computer, click and type dude, and you go undercover for a vlog that's been running bullshit stories about a candidate that you want to win the election. As you doing all this, out of nowhere, some anonymous type motherfucker who claim that they know your dad starts sending you information about this candidate. You don't know what to do. You start feeding into it. Then you start sending them out to your sources just to find out that the motherfucker that you going against has been the motherfucker that's been sending you the information. Crazy, right? Well, that is basically the concept, or at least the concept I gathered from this movie called Outrage, starring Alex Campbell, Josh Lopez, Kelly Stalling, Paul Stewart, and Jeff Goodsman. I apologize if I butchered names, but that's, it's kind of what I do. I'm about to dive into this movie and review it, but I'm not about to do it alone. Today, we're about to dive into the minds of the men behind the madness. So without further ado, let me introduce into the Let's Talk Indie studio, Neil Fotre, come on now, and Brady Nelson, man. Let's get down to it, man, because we got a lot to talk about.
All right, let's do it, man. I'm ready.
Fellas, what y'all think about that?
You can be our hype guy anytime.
Man,
come
sure.
on now.
That was a great intro.
That was a great
man,
roll
check this
up,
out,
too.
man. I do want to say, man, thank y'all for coming onto my platform, man. It is an honor and a privilege to have you two brothers here, man. It definitely means a lot.
No, thank you, man, for having us on. Yeah, this is awesome.
Yeah, greatly appreciated.
We kind of making history today, man, because, ironically, y'all are the first, European descendant brothers to be on here,
I kind of figured
kind of groundbreaking, man.
Sure, so I didn't want to claim it before. No,
it's okay. I watched some of your videos, Dron, and I was like, man, like, this guy's fun. He's just like us.
I love talking about it.
Fellow movie lover, indie cinema guy. And I was watching some of the trailers. I thought one of your movies that you had recently, I live in Chicago, and I thought one of them might have been in Chicago too, just like the South Side Story one.
Southside Hero, yeah.
Yeah. I ended up watching, that's pretty good.
Yeah.
I'll say it was underrated,
Very.
But when I sent the info off to Brady, he was like, does he know who he's is he sure about, like, I
want to make sure. I don't know. I'm happy to
does he know? And I'm like, I'm sure he knows. It's probably
But check this out, man. It's two things that y'all must understand, before we pop this thing off. The first thing is, I am not a professional. I am just a guy on the internet that loves to have fun. I love independent films. I've been a fan of independent films, man. Do y'all remember? Do y'all remember the No Limit days back in the late 90s and early 2000s? Mm-hmm. Remember the old independent film, the I'm About It, and I got the hookups? Like, I've been a fan since then.
Oh, yeah.
And the second thing is, which is the most important of anything I will say to you today, is that this is a cognac-friendly platform. You know what I'm saying? So please feel free to. Now, I know y'all guys in California, right?
Uh-huh.
I know everything out there is like, huh?
I'm in Chicago.
Oh, well, that's kind of like California. I know everything is gluten-free out there, so
Too much of it.
But man, we could just sit back, kick back, man, and let's talk about the Outrage, man. But first, I do want to know, how did y'all come across my platform?
I found it. I found your YouTube channel first, specifically, and I was just looking for folks. Well, to a little more context, Brady and I were just trying to find more like forums where people who are doing their own independent stuff were collaborating for help, tips, best practices. And then, when it came time to, see if we could, talk to people who, might want to hear the story or, might even just want to, even just watch our film, right? That's kind of how I dove into it. And, when you go into YouTube, most of the movie reviewers out there, whether they're big or small, they're just kind of paying attention to all the same stuff. It's just kind of a echo chamber of the Marvel movies or, whatever. Right.
For sure.
So, we were looking, we were doing some digging around, and we found there's not a lot of, channels like yours, right. That are kind of really just looking at, people who are doing this on relatively small budgets and wanting to tell, in my opinion, telling probably the most unique stories. Right. That's like the big thing, independent film. Right. But I mean, the stories themselves, they're not like the constant sort of cookie cutter kick out another franchise sequel. Right. So that was how I found you. And then I jumped over to your Instagram and just started going down the wormhole from there. And I'm like, these dudes sound like a fun time.
Yeah, just like a fun channel. You just seem fun. Like, I'm like, let's do it.
Unfortunately, I find that, and your tagline of like, we're unprofessionals, it was refreshing because there's just a lot of, in the critic reviewer world, and even, in the filmmaking world, there's a lot of just like, stick your pinky up in the air, like intellectual, kind of high on their horse sort of mentality. And I mean, it makes for a clunky. It's tough to get along, right? It just makes for kind of just like this pseudo kind of intellectualistic, conversation you're trying to have. And it's like, why can't we just talk about what we like and dislike, or maybe this actor was hot and she wasn't, like just how a lot of people just consume content with their friends and family.
Right. Nah, man, I like the old barbershop talk, man, about movies. You know what I'm saying? Like, because I'm learning that like the platforms like Tubi and like even a lot of the independent films on like the Amazon Primes and stuff, like it is a market for this, like, and it's a huge fan base for it. You know what I'm saying? Yeah. I didn't even realize that. If I'm mistaken, I think Tubi alone had like 78 or 79 million viewers last year or something like that. So
yeah,
and I follow a lot of the Tubi groups on like Facebook and Instagram. So I have, and there are hundreds of thousands of members of those groups, and I've learned that the independent, I guess genre of what we would call it, there's an audience for it. You know what I'm saying?
Yeah.
And I've been a fan of it, so I was like, I don't really see many people talking about it. I'm finna talk about it. I talk about it anyway. Might as well put a camera in front of me.
Yeah.
Nice.
I mean, I think it's, for my dad made a good point, especially with Tubi, right? That's a platform that, you can jump on for free and watch anything, right? You just have to kind of put up with a commercial every now and then. But if you were, if you were born pre-2000, right, then that's how you just watch TV and movies anyway, for the most part.
Man, the commercials aren't even that bad on it. I was like surprised. I thought they were going to have them like every 5 minutes. I mean, I suppose maybe I want them every 5 minutes because then we would make some more money. But, if you're the viewer, like, there's not that many ads. Like, I think they only have like maybe max 4 times during the whole movie.
Yeah, it'd be like 3, 4, 5 times a movie. It ain't the worst. No,
it was like 20 minutes before the first ad started to run. I was like, man.
Yeah,
making more money here, but anyway, whatever.
It's better. It's definitely
better for everyone else. So yeah,
right.
Better for the viewer, and a lot of people who are tuning into that stuff. It makes no difference to them. That's the time they can go to the. They can refill the beer nuts or get another drink or go to the bathroom. It's like that's just like a built-in sort of like, oh, okay, I need to take a breather anyway, right? So
and they don't got to pay for it.
no, and then you're still in the comfort of your own home too at the same time. If getting to the theater is actually like difficult for you, and you don't need to feel bad per se. I know a lot of folks don't like to be constantly paying for a subscription to this place and this place and this place. So I'm happy to see that these, especially Tubi, is getting the traction that they are.
Yeah. Before we get into Outrage, I am curious. How long have you guys been filmmakers? Is this your first film, or like what got y'all into the game?
Yeah, I'll let you take that one, Brady.
Yeah, that would make sense. Yeah, I mean, I've been a writer for like years, like 15 years. I've been writing scripts, trying to get them sold. You know, I made a couple of short films, but I didn't really think of myself as like a filmmaker. Maybe I mean, I should have, I guess, but I was just trying to like make my own stuff, like get my writing at least so I could see it and be like, hey, look, it exists. And then with just how kind of messed up Hollywood's been and everything, along with just kind of like getting this idea for the movie, I was like, I mean, we can swear on this podcast, right?
Yeah, hell yeah.
Just to be sure. I was like, fuck it. I want to make this movie. What are you drinking there, by the way? I feel like you should not be.
So this is actually a really simple mixture. So you get your nice jar with a straw in it. You get you some ginger ale out of any local gas station, and then you basically just spike that motherfucker with some Hennessy. And you got yourself a concoction.
All right. Well, I there's a serious chance I show up with a cocktail in the next few minutes, but
there you go.
After I give my spiel here, So I just so I've been doing it for technically, I guess, like 10, 15 years or something. Did Neil just like? Boop, boop? I don't know. Anyway,
he'll come back.
So, yeah, I mean, this was the first feature, though. I mean, I had made like a few like sci-fi, like short film, web series stuff, and a sci-fi short film like years ago. But this was the first one where I was like, all right, I could actually make this because this thing is like, it makes sense. It's just in one place. You know what I mean? Mm-hmm. Like a lot of these movies, if you want to make something low budget, one of the first things you try to do is like limit location. And that's just like, it's easier to do that with like gimmicky stuff in a horror movie. There's like that Ryan Reynolds one where he's like stuck in the coffin and how does he get out? That kind of shit. And I don't know. I don't usually do horror movies. So I wasn't coming up with anything like that. But then this idea, I was like, man, if you were going to run like a media influence operation, you really just need like a few people in a room and that's preferably that's it. And like, preferably like some weird kind of who owns this office, like you rented it for the day, kind of no one will know you were there situation, Mm-hmm. I was like, I could do that. I mean, I could rent that place, and then luckily, I live in LA. I've got friends who are DPs and sound people and stuff. So I was able to kind of like put this together. And then, Neil and I, threw some money at it. And here we are.
Voila.
I'm gonna tell you something about what you just said. Like as far as like having your first film, on a smaller budget, best thing to do is limit location. So I'm actually producing my first film as well in 2 weeks.
Oh, nice.
And
nice.
Smaller budget, but I was like, fuck that shit. We got like 15 locations, so we're gonna see how that
do it my way. All right,
we're gonna see how that play out.
I mean, I've done similar
outside. That's like.
Man, we got a couple mansions. We got exotic auto detailing shop. We got 2 clubs, a bar. Yeah, small stuff, nothing major.
I mean, that's incredible. Yeah, if you can get that, that sounds great, man. If you have access to a couple mansions, like, absolutely.
Right, just things we got laying around. Nothing crazy. Nothing major.
Hey, if anything, it's pumping up the real estate value for the owners. They can be like, a couple feature films have been filmed here.
Right.
Some history here.
So look, man. I'm before we get into the concept and everything, I want to know, like, from the creator standpoint, when you finally got a chance to see your film, like on TV, like after the editing and everything, like, what was that first initial feeling like?
Man. It's weird because like, so I edited it too, I was like, and I did the color, like I'd seen it so many times, right? I mean, I put it together. So it was weird because it was like, oh my, like, here we go again. Like, hello darkness, my old friend or something. Like I get to watch it again. But then like, I mean, when you're watching with all these people though, and they haven't seen it and they like laugh at the, something I meant to be funny. And like, you can see they're like engrossed in it. I'm like, wow, okay, this is like working. I mean, and then that feels good. kind of makes it, you're like, all right, at least it's working here now. It's like when you're putting it all together and you're taking this big leap, you're like, I don't know, is any of this going to be good? Is anybody going to give a shit? What am I doing? That's always a little bit in the back of your head. But yeah, no, when it comes through in a moment like that, like I did a screening with a bunch of friends out here, and like everybody loved it.
Y'all didn't have a premiere? Y'all didn't do a big premiere?
No, we couldn't book a place. We couldn't book like a theater. And then
there were some. We had to. It's not that we didn't want one for sure, because that would have been great. But with the distributor too, you do have to follow there's some guidelines you have to follow when it comes to like for like there were some rules for that, right? Where it made it so, and obviously being that this is kind of our first go, we didn't really want to we didn't want to walk, we wanted to walk the line, right? So that's kind of where we landed on that.
We just put all the money. We put all the money into the screen, and then like whatever tiny little marketing efforts we're doing, and it's just expensive to rent a theater.
Yeah,
like especially in LA. I looked into there's like, I don't know if they're out countrywide, but there's this like chain of theaters called Lemley here that are like kind of indie theaters. And they just put their prices on their website. Like, this is what it costs to like rent the theater for X amount of time. And they'll even have like it catered and whatnot. But we don't have like thousands of dollars left. It's just, the movie was made for so cheap. It's like, it would cost like a sizable chunk of the budget just to screen it for like one movie,
Yeah.
So, as much as I would love to,
Yeah, it definitely would be fun to do it, but there's only, unfortunately, it's like there's only so much. I feel like I'm always kind of the fun police in this regard, the Brady and I's partnership. 'Cause we talked about this a litany of times, and it's like there's the regulations you kind of have to follow with the distributor, and then it's like, oh, okay, if we do. Because like out here in the Midwest, it is a little cheaper, right, to find a theater, to screen it. And
I'm originally from St. Louis, so I got you.
Oh yeah, that's St. Louis, even better place to screen a film, to be quite honest. But then you have to kind of weigh like, all right, what value are we going to be able to get out of this, which is obviously to get Outrage in front of as many folks as possible. And at that like stage when we were doing it, we were like, okay, we might need to put this on the back burner for a little bit. I mean, we've still talked about going back to our alma maters and having a screening there. Hell which because then they turn it. Yeah, because like at an educational institution, it gets turned into like, oh, this is a teaching product, then for like film students and stuff, so there's, creating new filmmakers and, folks and producers and then writers in the process. So that's definitely like on the docket, like hopefully in the future.
It's probably worth bringing up too, like, because, we were hoping to get it screened at like a film festival, right? To like have it premiere and, then it would have been screened, but we only had the money to submit to 10 over the summer. And like, well, there's a couple of things like, so the movie's about an election getting kind of like hijacked essentially, or, a lot of fuckery with an election. So like, I was like super keen on getting it released before the election. I was like, we had a rough cut done in May. I'm like submitting this like kind of janky cut to like huge festivals thinking like, hey, like it's topical, I think it like could work, I don't know, I was aiming for the moon and hoping to hit the stars or something, and so like Toronto and Venice and then we hit up some others that were like, kind of like pretty big, like we might have even submitted to St. Louis, but we submitted to like Philadelphia, Chicago, I don't know, Prague, because I was like, it would be cool to go to Prague, but that anyway, it didn't get into any of these festivals, and I don't know. I know. Yeah, I know. Looking back, I think that's because, I sent them cuts where like the sound isn't all done, and like when it's an indie movie, and it's got like Ryan Gosling or some shit in it, Michael B. Jordan or whatever. they're going to be confident, like, oh, the sound will get done. You know, like you send them a rough cut with a star like that, they're like, oh, well, of course, like, you know, we can trust that, you know, the movie will be complete. But you send a movie like ours that was made for like no money, and like the actors are great, but they're not stars, right? That nobody, you know, I think these festivals
was real good on y'all film too.
Oh, thanks. Yeah, no, man. We got a real pro. My friend Dylan did it. My friend from high school, actually, who just randomly is a great DP.
Damn. Send him there. I know. I tell him I need him. Did y'all ever think about like shopping it around to like different production companies, possibly selling it or licensing it to anybody?
Oh yeah, no, we did. We got a guy. We got this great guy, Glenn Reynolds, who's like
Circus
a sales
Road
rep.
Films,
I'm still not. Yeah, Circus Road Films. I'm not even sure if like he loves being called a sales rep, but whatever.
His
basically what he did.
His title's definitely fluid. He's an attorney. He's an entertainment attorney for sure, right?
Yeah,
like that.
Right.
That's like, you know, he's got the Esquire, right? You know, label,
which is helpful.
But his expertise is working with indie filmmakers to kind of merge this connection between, say, folks like us and the distribution entities. Very helpful. Great guy.
Oh yeah. I mean, while we were waiting to hear back from film festivals, he was already pitching it to like Netflix and Hulu and, you know, silly ones like A24. I was like, A24 is not going to pick up this movie. Stop it. But whatever. He pitched to them anyway. So no, I mean, that was cool. You know, like we did have a guy out there kind of hustling for that. And then we got 3 offers in the fall and we ended up going with indie rights.
Yeah. He's put it in front of, I want to say, like the total list, right? You know, he pretty much was like, I'm going to shake every branch, you know, regardless of if I think they're going to say no or not, might as well. And that equates to, I like over 40 locations, you know, the names you recognize and then some you might. I mean, place like Netflix, obviously, like, did we get our, you know, did somebody at Netflix take a look at it? Yeah, they, you know, I'm sure they took a peek at it, but like, you know, an indie budget for Netflix is like $9 million movie, right? You know, like,
damn.
I mean, you know, it'll be like you know, an indie film for a place like that, or like, you know, Paramount Plus. They'll have at least a comfortable 7-figure budget with also, you know, a very name ID, you know, actress attached to it as well. So
that's
you
like
know,
a requirement to get on the platform.
No, is it a requirement? No, but is it a call
it's
it
a hurdle?
Yeah,
it's a hurdle.
I mean, I wouldn't say it's a full blown requirement, but it's definitely gonna you know, kind of stack the deck in your favor for sure. Because
the one little bit
of came back to us that just said we were just too small.
Exactly. I was just gonna say. Yeah.
But that's what platforms like Tubi and stuff are for, and Amazon Prime.
Yeah.
We're gonna make some money.
100%. Yeah. No, I mean,
and look, a lot of people that watch my show are like producers and cinematographers and actors and stuff. So hey, maybe we can connect some dots. Who knows? You know?
Yeah,
that would be awesome. Yeah, absolutely.
It'd be great, especially for the project that we're always cooking something.
Right.
I mean, there's I mean,
no one should drink alone, you know.
I mean, I think the great thing about this industry is, you know, if you love it, right, you know, and you kind of go from project to project, you're always going to be looking for, you know, new folks to, you know, potentially fill some new roles, right, to work with, who are, you know, who also love doing the same thing. So that's, you know, kind of the nice part of it is you de facto become this entity that's always looking, like always hiring, right? Like you're always sort of, you know, keeping an eye out for who could, you know, potentially like join in, you know.
So let's jump into Outrage. You know, we got the concept of it being, you know, basically they're fucking around with this election. Where did this start at in you guys' mind? Like what, like walk me through the process or the methodology y'all use to come up with a concept to start writing a script for a movie. With this one particular.
Well, so it really started. I mean, I've been writing for a long time, so like I was saying, like I'm always kind of like I'm on the lookout for something I think I can make or that I think is like low budget enough. Maybe I can get sell it for some amount. Someone else thinks they can make it. It's just hard to come by those ideas, especially in like the non-horror space. And I don't usually write horror stuff, but in like October, I'm going to say 2023, the election stuff is kind of gearing up. And I read this. I've just been reading books on how fucked up the media and journalism is, right? For like years now. I mean, we all kind of know it. Who trusts the news, this kind of thing, all that stuff, So that's all kind of swirling around. And I read this book. Do you know who Ryan Holiday is? Maybe. He's this dude who like, right now he writes like books on like stoicism, kind of randomly. But 10 years ago or 15 years ago, he was like this marketing guy for American Eagle, the brand. And he would do all these things to mess with the media to like promote his brand. And he got hired by some other people to do that stuff. And he wrote this book called Trust Me, I'm Lying, where he just like details all the shit he used to do. And then, the book, he did like I read the updated version from 2017 and he's like, hey guys, like Trump's doing all this shit. Like, so are all these other people online and like, this is how they do it and blah, blah, blah. And while I'm reading this book, it just pops in my head. Like, it's an election. Like, wouldn't someone like, what would it look like if someone was trying to fuck with it? A similar election. Like, it's not Trump versus Biden in the movie, right? It's like sort of a Trump kind of guy and like, honestly, like a Gavin Newsom kind of guy, And
let me pause you real quick. Would you have been able to do that? Would you have been able to do a Trump versus Biden? Or would you have? Is there like a copyright thing or image and likeness kind of thing?
I could. I'm sure I could have done it because they're so public. Like they're such public figures. I probably could have done it with them, but I wanted. I mean, it sounds funny because I know it's like an election movie, kind of, but I think of it more as like a media manipulation movie. Like,
it is.
Like the election. I didn't want it to get too political. Like, I didn't want it to like. I didn't want to pick a side or like have anybody come in and be like, oh, fuck it, they just hate Biden and whatever, or vice versa, right? And like I wanted it to feel.
I definitely feel that.
Yeah. So because like you read like there's all that crazy shit going on with Baldoni and what's her face, the Ryan Reynolds' wife. I don't, what I'm talking. I don't know if you read like the Hollywood Reporter stuff, but. Yeah, there's just all this crazy stuff where he was like hiring
all the time when I was younger.
Okay. Yeah. I mean, most of it's fluff, but yeah, there's all this stuff going on about like he hired a PR firm to run like bots that like, disparaged her on social media or whatever. And she's anyway, it's a mess.
That shit.
Yeah. Like I think this is going on. I mean, another case of this in a way is like, I think in the Drake lawsuit against UMG, he says you guys used bots to promote Kendrick's album, like it's fake or whatever, right? So this is like all over the place, like all this kind of media manipulation, accusations and stuff. And so I'm sure, anyway, I kind of went off on a tangent there, I guess, but yeah, I'm sure I could have.
No, you're good. I wanted to know that stuff.
Okay, good. Yeah, no, I could have used Trump and Biden. I didn't want to make it like about the politics as much. I mean, obviously it's about it a bit because people get, and it's about manipulating.
Making it about Biden and Trump or Trump and Kamala, you'd have opened up a whole new can of worms.
Yeah, but no, exactly.
It made motherfuckers go watch the movie though.
Maybe you're right, man. I mean, I could, if I had veered it for one side or the other, maybe I would have just gotten all of the Trump people to watch it or all of the Kamala people to watch it. I don't know, but
you would have got so much hate mail and so much love mail.
Oh yeah, I know.
You got a shit ton of views,
man. And Neil knows because we gotta we try to promote it on X on the app formerly known as Twitter, and it's a shitstorm. It's just like crazy out there. It's like I can't even imagine if we actually had candidates. It'd be nuts.
Yeah, the Facebook, we're running ads on Facebook right now, or Meta, right? And
yeah,
the comment section in our ads is just
incredible.
like a political mud fight of
it's unreal. This is just off the poster, by the way. Like none of these people has seen the movie yet.
Yeah, I it'll be just like the poster of the movie Outrage title, or perhaps like the, maybe. I mean, we even have an ad attached to the trailer, but that's still, it's just like, it doesn't even matter, because the comment section just turns into like, democracy is dead, and you all, like, you
it's
liberal,
so
like what's, and it's, I get the notifications of the comments, right? And, I'll be like at the gym, right, with my earbuds in, and I'll hear like notification from Facebook, liberals suck, you lost. And I'm just like,
like, it's not even we didn't pick a side. Like, you don't even, anyway.
Hey, I'm gonna tell you something about people, and this is gonna sound terrible. People love to be manipulated. You gotta fuck with their head, man. So you gotta
That's
whatever
true.
it is that they feed into or fight against, man, you gotta go with that shit. Because people don't like common sense. People don't like ugly truth. People like to be lied to. That's why they go with this bullshit. So you gotta lie to them.
yeah. I mean, you
people
go
like
to
be outraged,
Yeah.
You're right.
I mean, part of the movie experience, right, is you want to take a break from reality and experience some entertainment, whatever, joy, maybe that's horror or whatever, right? But obviously, I mean, we knew from the get-go, because our movie was, even though it's about a completely fictional election, right, just because election and media was the topic, we knew that this was ultimately going to be some outcome in some way, shape, or form. We were just hoping that, like, when people did see the movie, they, it was like, we, like Brady said, we didn't pick a side at all. We just wanted to sort of show like what we believe is I think what a lot of people now, it's no longer speculation that a lot of the information we're getting is highly manipulative, and you're not getting, maybe people want the truth, right? But they're getting fed, either what they already believe in, or the opposite of what they believe in, for the purpose of which to piss them off and then make them go and do something else, right? So that,
bro,
someone's making money duping you is kind of the, that's often the case,
I got a saying, right? And this is it's a good one to me, but it's probably the dumbest shit anybody ever thought of. I got a saying where I say, fuck it, we're here now. All we can do is move forward. So whenever coming across like that, I'd have made that Trump and Kamala. Fuck it, we're here now. All we can do is move forward.
Man,
but look, I'm gonna tell you, man, when I got to the end of the movie and I found out that the guy that was over the blog site was the anonymous guy feeding him the information, I'm really good at predicting movies. So I'm gonna tell you what I thought. Okay. When the anonymous dude came in and said he knew his dad, off the rip, I knew he didn't. I was like, this is bullshit. His daddy would have told him. You know what I'm saying? Mm-hmm. I didn't know who he was, but I knew that dude didn't know, or whoever the anonymous person didn't know that guy's dad. But finding out that it was the guy he was working for the whole time, that was like, oh, spoiler alert, by the way. I always forget to say that.
No, I mean, whatever, man. I figure your audience is cool with that. Like,
they don't give a fuck.
If it gets them to watch it, I mean, look, I think it's still good. So,
man,
that's so gratifying to hear. Like, I'm so glad that, like, I don't know, gotcha.
So look, I watched the movie twice, right? I watched it the first time, and then I watched it one time by myself and one time with my homegirl. And my homegirl, she is like the typical normal person in America. Like when it comes to like, she got her political views, but it's not like extreme. It's not like she don't give a fuck. It's really in the middle. So I always watch movies with her just to get her opinion as like the normal person looking at it.
Yeah. Totally.
And bro, she loved Outrage. Like she
All
fucking
right.
loved it.
Love it. Dude, I know.
Yeah.
I believe it though, because it's like sort of a movie for the middle. It's like if you're
Yeah.
just sort of like, if you're like, all these people are fucking crazy, this is the movie for you.
Yeah,
Like,
absolutely.
you know what I mean? Like that's yeah. So no, I mean that's amazing to hear too, man. Thank you.
Let me ask y'all this though. No, go ahead.
Oh no, I was just saying we got a review that had a line in it that said, Outrage is a movie where if you're on one side or the other, it's gonna make you mad. Like you're only safe if you're in the middle, right? It's sort of like was like like if you've already if you come into this movie and you're a staunch, red pill guy, right, or you're blue, no matter who, then it's gonna you're gonna be irritated.
Which I'm here, I'm fine with that. Obviously, I mean, I made it,
right?
So yeah, that's
hey,
the goal,
what?
I guess.
If y'all wasn't gonna go to Kamala Trump route, y'all should have strongly alluded to Republicans and Democrats. And I got it a little bit with the when he was first having the conversation with the guy, and I think it was the Truly guy. He said he wasn't for democracy or something like that. Oh, I get it, but boy, if y'all just threw in left wing, right wing, every blue moon, like get the people just going, man.
Double down, triple down. Yeah.
Right. That's what's up. So let me ask y'all this: moving forward, are y'all going to continue like the path of like the techie kind of politic, thriller type of movies, or like are y'all like going to rank? Or y'all ever plan on going into maybe comedy or like rom-coms or like just out of curiosity?
No, definitely techie thriller stuff.
Social network.
I'm writing. I'm writing the next thing right now, or what we think might be the next thing, and it's like it's less contained because it takes place in like a whole building, but it's like a kidnapping movie, basically. So like a kidnapping thriller. Yeah. I mean, I think especially because like, I don't do. It's not that I wouldn't do a horror movie. Like I just haven't found one that I really like yet, or a concept I really like. But usually in this kind of genre, it's like horror is great because you can make something for cheap. There's an audience for it. Like there's a really hungry audience for it who doesn't care about what it's like. If that was made for $1,000, but like it's freaky as hell and weird and whatever, like there's a horror audience for it. You know what I mean? But I think thriller is like pretty close, and comedy is just too far from like, at least from what I'm doing right now, like I just don't have as much. I mean, Neil is working on some comedy stuff, but like for what we do together, I'm more like thriller, maybe some sci-fi. I've got some sci-fi ideas that I think are cool. I have. Yeah. So thriller and or sci-fi, like next.
I like the sci-fi. I like that type of stuff.
Nice. Yeah.
Brady and I kind of one of the historical context here with Brady and I's, we both like sci-fi, sci-fantasy type stuff. That's sort of, one of our preferred genres. And we've cooked up like a YouTube channel recently that's called House Azure. And it's where the Outrage trailer is at too. But it's a place where we just are like, man, we're just going to get weird on here. Like and it's kind of, a place where we can kind of put sort of these nuggets or, incorporating like AI technology too, to make concept trailers and stuff. For some of the things that Brady has either written or, thinking of, even thinking about.
Just for fun,
and ultimately it's also like not a bad way for us to, kind of even get like a little kernel of like a proof of concept. Like, oh, okay, like this was not only a lot of fun, but like putting together a little 1 minute or 2 minute or 3 minute, like visual, almost like a visual, like a moving storyboard, right, is now kind of shifted us into thinking bigger on it. So sure. I guess going back to like your initial question, like we're not really married per se to like particular like a genre, right? We do like have a couple we like to poke around in. I just think it makes it more fun,
Yeah.
That's kind of the whole thing at the end of the day.
Right?
This is supposed to be fun.
Totally.
I'm gonna tell y'all, man. Y'all been saying a whole lot right now, but y'all ain't been saying what I want to hear, man. You know what I'm saying? First of all, I gotta tell y'all, man, I'm a huge fantasy fan. Like, I am a Game of Thrones buff. Like, I love fantasy. You know what I'm saying? Like, what's up, man?
Yeah.
We doing vampires, we doing dragons. What's up, man? What we doing, man?
Man, that shit is expensive. I don't know.
As
I mean,
fuck.
That is super expensive. I mean,
yo, Brady, let me ask you something.
Yeah.
You in LA, right?
Yeah.
Does it, like, so with you being in LA and being around, like, so close, you know, to the industry, is it like an uphill battle because you're independent and you're, like, you know, trying to, you know, basically kick the door in, or does it make it a tad bit easier with you already being in the area and having relationships with certain people to kind of, you know, make these, you know, movies come about?
No, man, that's a great question. I think it's easier a bit because, well, like, for example, like, you know, my high school friend being a good DP, it's like, you know, that kind of stuff is just happening because I live here and I'm from here. So it's like, I just, you know, and a lot of college friends of mine who went to film school and stuff, they moved here. So, like, there's just a pool of talent.
Why don't you just go walk up to Paramount and knock on a door and say, I got a script to sell? Why do people in LA do this? Like,
that is when they call security and then perhaps the police. Yeah. I mean, I went. Paramount's like down the street from me, honestly.
Right.
But,
you know what I'm saying? Yeah.
You know, yeah. I wish it was that easy. I mean, yeah, they, you know, yeah, they'll just think you're a crazy homeless person, probably, which, you know, LA likely has a lot of that too. Yeah.
Neil, you in Chicago, right?
Mm-hmm. Yep.
Chicago is really close to Detroit. Detroit got a huge independent film scene up there. Not only that, but they also film in Chicago as well. Like, does your geographical location, like, give you a benefit, you know what I'm saying, to make connections and network in the independent film world?
So it does. It is nice too. I used to do a lot when I was in the corporate world. I spent a lot of time in Detroit, and because that city has also just, you know, it kind of went through a little bit of a boom too, right? In the last, you know, not like it got a lot of its population back, you know, from the market crash. So, like, I can say, to piggyback off of Brady's point, while you, like, here in the Midwest, while you don't have, say, like, as much ready access to people in the industry, there still are, like, here in Chicago, there still is a lot of, like, music. We have, like, the big comedy scene here in Chicago, and there's all these, there's always like huge, right? And there's, you know, especially through, like, Second City and stuff like that. So you do have a pool of people to, you know, to reach out to, right? It's by no means, in my opinion, it's created more opportunity for people where you don't necessarily have to be out in Los Angeles. Like, it doesn't necessarily have to be your home base if you want it to. And it's also, you know, I mean, you call a spade, like Detroit, Chicago, a little bit more affordable than Los Angeles, right? So, like,
no, a lot of bit more affordable than Los Angeles.
I mean, if
rub it in.
Like, it's easier, you know, for somebody, you know, who's trying to, say, like, they're just trying to be an actor, you know, or maybe they're trying to work on sets and stuff. They can work, you know, the gig jobs that allow them the freedom, the time freedom, right? So that they can, you know, I'll allocate other time during the week to work on the stuff that they probably aren't going to be making a whole lot of, or any money right out the gate. So, you know, there's kind of there is benefits too of not necessarily being located in Los Angeles, and just via the nature, you know, Brady and I have talked about this a lot of times with some other people, you know, because, you know, I mean, Brady got shade thrown at him for, you know, like, saying he's going to be working with a guy now who lives, you know, many states away, right? You know, from the California crowd, right? So, but the thing is, you know, the thing is like, you know, byproduct of, like, the pandemic, a lot of stuff is happening virtually, meetings. So, you know, the things that, like, historically speaking, needed to happen in person, everybody's gotten accustomed to that now not always being the case, right? Like, we're the three of us are all in different states right now.
Hell yeah.
And we're still, able to have some fun and, talk about the industry and stuff. So, you certainly don't have to be located in Los Angeles, but like Brady said, there's plenty of net positives,
Right.
There's some benefits.
Is Hollywood really crumbling the way I keep hearing about? Like, I keep hearing like a lot of the fucking sets is like half empty now and they ain't making as many movies as they used to. Like, what?
Oh, totally true. Yeah.
Really?
Oh, yeah. Yeah. No, because they shoot in like Ireland or Budapest or anywhere but here because it's so expensive. Yeah. But I think, who knows how much is anything, who knows how true anything coming out of Newsom's mouth is. I don't know. But supposedly he's trying to like make California a bit more competitive. And I've read in some of the trade stuff that there's like new sets being built here, studio space, stuff like that. So they might be gearing up for a return of some of this. But no, I also read like Vegas has Warner Brothers and one of the other big studios just built like a huge complex in Vegas, or is almost done with the huge complex in Vegas to shoot stuff. Yeah. Well, because Vegas is dirt cheap.
Vegas.
Yeah, exactly. I don't want to fucking live in Vegas. Like, fun to visit for like 2 days. I don't really want to like be there for a long period of time.
I can dig
it. But like, yeah. So no, it's not great. At least not now. There's signs maybe it'll gear up again. But if you're not in LA, that means it's probably great for you right now. Like if you
goddamn right
are in like. Yeah, exactly. Like so many states had like Georgia, Louisiana, I think even New York. They all have like great tax credits. That's why they have these TV shows shooting there and stuff. And if you're an indie movie and you can get that against your budget to help finance it, that's like amazing. Right?
But what I've been seeing a lot of,
they'll finance them or they'll throw money. Yeah, if you're doing a production there, like New Mexico does that too.
Oh yeah, New Mexico.
I've been seeing a lot of the independent films been coming out of like, of course, Detroit, Atlanta, New York, the Jersey area, and Texas is kind of building the scene now, and then 50 Cent, he just built that studio in Shreveport, Louisiana. So I don't know, maybe things are kind of shifting to the South a little bit,
I think that Atlanta's been big for a long time now. Like Tyler Perry's been out there for a long time, and they've been shooting a lot of stuff out there kind of anyway. So like that was already kind of a big one. But I think you're right. I think Texas, coming in. Everybody's sort of just like feasting at the carcass of California now to get
everybody basically said, fuck California. We're gonna do it right here.
Yeah, like you guys were idiots. Yeah. You had this great thing and you fucked it up, and now it's we're gonna take what we can from it.
I'm gonna be honest, man. I don't know how people. So I used to go to California a lot. Like I had a crib in North Hollywood off of Lancashire and Magnolia. We had a condo over there, dude. This was like 2013, I think, Brad. The condo at that time was like $3,800 a month. I'm almost for certain that right now that condo probably $5,000-$6,000 a month. You know
probably.
Like,
yeah. Post COVID too. It's crazy.
Yeah, I've been to Chicago, man. So my brother and his wife, they did their anniversary in Chicago a couple of years ago, and I couldn't think like, what the fuck's in Chicago? What the fuck are y'all doing up there? You know what I'm saying? I just so happened to be in Chicago at the time. I was on my way to New York, and he was like, we had a car up in Portage, Indiana. He was like, yo, bro, come be our Uber driver for the day. And I was like, in Chicago? Fuck no. Like, I'm not doing that. So he basically talked me into it, and they had an Airbnb in Wicker Park. So I went to this Airbnb. Man, this motherfucker was nice. One thing I like about Chicago style homes, I love the exposed brick on the inside. Exposed brick with the pipes and everything. And like I think something like that over there in Wicker, it might have been like maybe 2,000, maybe a little 2,500 or something like that. And I was just thinking to myself, bro, if this is in California, this should be $8,000 a month. So like,
I think that stuff all the time.
Yeah.
Anytime I see anything halfway nice somewhere else, I'm like, can't have nice things anymore. This would be like, whatever. Some stupid $8,000 a month or something.
I live in Nashville, Tennessee, right? Nashville has been being gentrified by Californians for about the past 10 years now. And I meet them all the time. And they always tell me, dude, they sell they like they little fucking 1,500 square foot house and goddamn what's that place in Northern California where Facebook is? Palo Alto.
Palo Alto, yeah.
So they'll sell like fucking 1,500, 1,000 square foot house for like $1.5 million, and then they'll come out here to Nashville and get this fucking 5,000 square foot mansion for $800,000.
live large, yeah.
And fuck our cost of living up. So yeah, dude, fuck Californians, man.
You're not the first victim, man. Yeah, I've got friends in Seattle, and that happened there too, as far as I know. So.
Oh man, it's crazy, man.
Yeah. My parents they live in Tennessee as well. They're outside of Knoxville, and Knoxville is the next Tennessee city that's getting essentially.
Yeah, they started on them too.
What my dad likes to call them California refugees is like, it's sort of a different take
There's
on
some
it.
of that
But
for sure.
He's always like. And the community is obviously like they're welcome. They're like, okay, come here. Like it's
the hospitality, man. Everybody's nice.
Yeah, it's a different, obviously different pace of life. But they're like, hey, you're gonna get some land now. You get a yard. But they're like, don't bring the things here that screwed up the place you're leaving.
Man, I'll drive to Arizona every year, and there's like billboards on the freeway that say that. Yeah. Like billboards going to Phoenix from California are like, don't bring your shit here. Like,
that's leave it at home. Tennessee.
We don't want it. I'm like, I'm just a guy. I don't know. I'm not bringing anything. It's not my fault.
Look, it's so crazy in Nashville, right? Because like you can tell Californians have invaded our fucking space because there's fucking juice bars every goddamn where. And fucking and look.
Clear sign.
They gentrifying like the ghettos, right? Like the inner city. And I just be riding down the street because I drive trucks locally in Nashville, and I be seeing these people out jogging with their dogs, and I just be like, "Don't you know the projects right down the street? What are you doing out here?" Right?
They need juice too.
This is a California invasion. Oh man, it's crazy, man. But look, let me ask y'all this though. Jumping back on topic a little bit, what is the ultimate message that y'all want y'all audience to get out of the movie Outrage?
Well, I mean, I think I was actually pretty close to it with someone's making money off of trying to dupe you is kind of one major takeaway. As much as I think you're right, people love to be outraged and like kind of be a fanatic or be duped maybe. I mean, less so. I think if people, I guess I would love the movie to kind of make people just take a step back for a second and think like, why am I getting so heated about this thing I just read about? How do I even know it's real? What's the point of someone, is there some purpose someone might have in wanting me to believe this thing, or whatever and honestly, at the end of the day, just to have an entertaining movie that people enjoy, I'm
going to say something about your movie regarding a video I did last year. So this is when I found out that not only do people probably like to be lied to, people are very, very easily manipulated. When it comes to like this gave me a whole different outlook on people. Politics, like politicians, I feel like it is such a huge chess game because they're trying to find the best way to manipulate. And this is why I say that. I made a video last year. As of right now, it got 2.8 million views. It is 100% a comedy skit. I put in the caption, this is a comedy skit. I literally took the video from another creator and just inserted myself for my followers just to make them laugh.
Yeah.
It's basically it's a news article, like a CNN type of news thing about a guy who robbed the Wells Fargo bank and then posted all the money on his social media. So it's pictures of me with like prop money, and I put a Louis in my mouth. And, oh my goodness!
This sounds genius, by the way. I want to watch this now. But anyway,
dude, it's on my main page. I got it pinned up at the top. It's on my main page.
I'm gonna check that out. I missed that somehow.
Fucking hilarious, but not on my podcast page. If you go into the bio on my podcast page, go to my main page.
Okay,
it's right at the top. Fucking hilarious. I got thousands of comments of people telling me how stupid I was for posting the money. I hope he goes to jail. And I'm like, I'm just thinking to myself, if I fooled y'all not even trying to, I can only imagine what these blog sites, Outrage, is doing to y'all brains And I'm literally trying to make you laugh.
Charlotte bank employee facing federal charges, accused of stealing tens of thousands of dollars from his job. And prosecutors say the evidence is all over social media. Photo after photo of the suspect with stacks of cash. New tonight, NBC Charlotte's Brianna Harper now has all the details from the FBI.
Being a Wells Fargo employee, the suspect had plenty of access to cash.
Yeah, like they didn't even get. I don't know. They didn't even read the description. I
didn't read the description. Not only that, at the end of the video, so the news clip and say he took a lot of the money and put a large down payment on a brand new Mercedes Benz. It's a real news reporter saying this.
Yeah.
Dude, you're gonna laugh so hard when you see this video. I literally photoshopped the Mercedes and cropped myself in front of it. Like, it is the fakest picture you can ever see in your life.
Flip art.
Like,
this is incredible. Yeah.
And people was like, why would he go buy that truck? And I'm just like, no fucking way.
Friends and family are going to hear about, like, what happened to him? He's lost his way.
Right, dude. It was insane, man. And it takes me back to Outrage, man, because you got you got these people on this blog site that are feeding these bullshit stories. And the dude maybe we can count. He's like, nah, it's too late. It's out there already. Like, it's like, you can't even fight it. Like, even if it's fake or it's real, the people are going to eat what they're going to eat. You know what I'm saying?
Exactly.
And it's just,
I know, it's gross.
Round of a fucking applause for Outrage, goddamn.
As you know, the election is in 1 week. We're going to be affecting the outcome.
You're doing it wrong.
You ever ask at the farm if something's real?
We were hired by Trellit to try to take Newbomb down. This tape changed everything.
Yeah, I know, like when Brady and I were talking about this script when he was kind of cooking it up, I have a media background and I worked in DC as a reporter, and so he would kind of bounce these ideas off of me, and I was like, unfortunately, man, like you're like, you didn't even touch this industry, but like, yeah, these entities do exist, but they're just sort of rolled up under the guise of like think tanks, right? Or nonprofits, and they give themselves these like very innocuous kind of legit, that like these titles that like legitimize the organization. You wouldn't know that they are actually just a lot of young graduate students or PhD kids who are just cranking out research papers, for blogs or whatever, but they all have, wherever the funding is coming from is the purpose to which they're doing that. Right. So it's just it's an engine of manipulation. And I, like personally speaking, I'm hoping that, if people watch the movie, you sort of get a notion that, if you let these things, if you let a lot of these entities or a lot of the information, kind of absorb, if they take away a couple minutes of your life to where you're really angry, like they win. Like you don't, like there is no winning for us in any of this. Like, even if it like your side wins, right? Or like the other side loses, like, no. Like it wasn't about it. That's the illusion, right? That like to make you think that you won, when in reality, like it's the people that are kind of doing all, that are the creators of all this stuff. Like all they care about is, number one, right? Like themselves, and they could honestly care less about who they might be promoting or who they might be trying to, degrade at the same time.
They don't give a damn.
Yeah.
My opinion, no. Not at all. I mean, look, I'm sure the statistic is still true, but like they said that like there's like a research study that like showed that like Washington DC has the most sociopaths per capita of like any place, and I'm like, you know what? Show me a little bit of that research and I'll buy that. like I don't even.
It's a little nudge, and I'm like,
I'm like, I buy that. Easily. And unfortunately, that's where a lot of these some are obviously like in different regions of the United States, but a lot of the more like quote unquote legitimized, manipulators of this stuff are kind of in and around that area. which is ironic, because that's where our like free democracy is supposed to.
You know how big
function.
of a piece of shit you got to be to invent breakfast?
Boom. Watch Outrage, you'll get it.
Watch Outrage and you'll get why I said that.
Love that.
Hell yeah.
Yeah.
But no, I was gonna say, man, look, man, check this out. I appreciate you brothers for coming through, man. I know y'all busy, but I do gotta ask y'all one last question. I've asked y'all 1,000 questions, and I typically do it. Sometimes I forget, but I typically do this though. Is there anything that y'all would like to ask me before I get ready to, before we skedaddle?
Man, what's this movie you're producing?
Yeah,
is it a movie? Yeah, I'm super curious. What's going on with that?
I'm glad you asked.
Yeah.
I've been waiting on this question.
Good. I'm glad. Yeah.
No,
Alley for you. Yeah.
It's basically an adaptation of a book that I published some years ago called When Worlds Collide. It's well, before I get in, I do gotta say, so when I first started writing, like basically urban fiction, drama, thriller type of thing. Now I got a book coming out called The Hidden Key about an orphan kid who finds out he's a descendant of an ancient Egyptian god. We'll talk about that later.
Wow.
Okay. But that's what I want to get into. But basically, my movie is When Worlds Collide: The Price of Revenge. We took my book, and instead of making a full movie out of the book, we basically elongated the first 6 chapters. So we're gonna do a part 1, 2, and 3 of my book. It's a fairly simple story. It's about a girl who's basically playing Bonnie and Clyde with her boyfriend, and she's basically ready to settle down and have some babies, have a family, but he has, ambitions of, climbing the ladders of the criminal underworld. And they wind up getting involved with like a dirty Italian ambassador. Some crosses get involved. It's fun. You know what I'm saying? It's a fun story.
No, it sounds, okay.
Yeah, it's When Worlds Collide.
He lives in one of the mansions, I guess.
That's what the mansions coming in. Yeah. No, like that. We got a couple Rolls Royces. We got some Maseratis. We got some shit.
Man, sounds incredible. Yeah. Okay.
This is all in Atlanta. You're gonna do like it's all. Is the story out of Atlanta, or just that's where?
No, ironically, so the story is actually in 2 places. So like the first 6 chapters of the story is actually in LA. The rest of the book is in small town Tennessee. But
okay.
Yeah, cool. So it's we're trying to figure out. So look, trying to replicate LA and Atlanta is not an easy thing to do. That is
I was just thinking about like that's
but if you
I
go
bet
to
you pull that off though, like in certain warehouse districts and stuff. Okay.
A lot of the mansions and like areas in like the Buckhead and Lithonia and stuff like that, a lot of them actually have palm trees in front of the houses. So we're gonna play on the palm tree aspect of it. Do a little B-roll of maybe like Melrose and Sunset. It ain't gonna be easy, but we're gonna try to pull this off though.
Man, I bet if you just got some like establishing shots of something like that, like a couple LA landmarks, and then you have palm trees in front of a house, people are like, "Oh yeah,
Well, see, the only issue with that is me being the critic that I am, because I'm going to review my movie as well. Say that
I love that.
Right? No, that's awesome. And I'm gonna point out. Trust me, look, I got thick skin. I'm gonna point out the bullshit I catch in my movie. This is what I'm worried about. Say that the character's like walking down the street or something, and the camera was to flash across a business with an Atlanta area code on it. That's the type of stuff that I'm worried about. You know what I'm saying?
Because I catch that type of stuff. I mean, you don't want to say that too often, but like, you throw a mask on it in Premiere, you're fine. I don't know. No. I mean, you don't want that to happen, but like,
look, we're trying to portray LA, and they walking past the business say Atlanta chicken and waffles, so that's going to be a bit of an issue. Like
that won't do you any good. No,
right.
That's so funny. Yeah, man, that sounds awesome though. You're doing like a Star Wars kind of thing with it, then. Like you're like,
well, yeah,
trilogy, first part of the story. So you're planning like a whole trilogy.
Well, yeah, and not only is it a trilogy, I actually got a book that I haven't published that's actually a prequel to the movie. So we kind of playing on the universe kind of thing right now. So I like universes.
Yeah, no, I mean, that's awesome. That's like very ambitious.
Man, I'm trying to get like y'all, man. Y'all I'm trying to get like y'all.
Well, you're kind of setting yourself up great because like we have to figure out what the next project is, but you've already got like a whole series of stuff you could, that all interconnects and everything.
When I come up, like whenever I need to think of something, like whenever I want to come up with a story, I always think of an issue that needs solving. So like, the book that I got called The Hidden Key, that book initially started out as a vampire story. I was like, what if a kid from the urban inner city found out he was a vampire later on in his life? And as I was writing the story, it developed into something more. I was like, well, damn, vampires are kind of typical. It's a shit ton of vampire stories. I was like, instead of making him a vampire, let's make him something a little more intricate. Let's make him a descendant of something. So I was like a descendant of Zeus, a descendant of maybe Shango, some of the African deities. And I was like, well, Egypt is kind of a hot topic right now. Everybody's on the Egyptology train. And I was like, you know what? Let's make him a descendant of an Egyptian deity. It'll still give him supernatural abilities, but it won't make him something as typical as a vampire. So that's kind of like my methodology when I go about, putting stories together.
Oh, that's a cool idea because you've got a lot going on in Egyptian mythology too. That you
exactly a lot of stuff to play on.
A lot of stuff.
There was that. They did try. Oh man, what was that? It was
Gods of Egypt.
No, it was like there was like a bigger super. It was a series. It didn't do great, but it had like was it like moon dust but the guy it was all based on like like you know what I'm talking about, Brady? It had like a big actor in it too.
The moon, was it Oscar Isaacs in it?
Remember?
Talking about the Vampire Diaries?
No.
That's hilarious.
No, but I mean, like it didn't do great. In
I
terms
just
of
remember the
content.
moon thing.
It didn't sound as fun as what you're talking about. That's for sure. Because yours actually sounds a lot more like fun and people can
look. I got deep with it, right? So I actually made his his white blood cell count. I made the number of white blood cell counts in his body the actual coordinates of the Pyramid of Giza.
That's pretty gnarly.
So you're getting into some Graham Hancock.
That's pretty gnarly. Yeah, I would watch that. I mean, that's you should definitely. We should. I don't know if you know about. He's another indie film guy. He just had us on his. He interviewed us like a couple of weeks ago. I'm gonna butcher his last name. It's like Alex Srednazalek.
I do it all the time.
I don't sorry, Alex. You're super cool. But this guy rules. He interviewed us a couple weeks ago. We'll send over his info on over to you and kind of make that connection because you guys would especially about the project you're working on as well, because like he'd definitely be down to kind of rap with you about that for sure.
Yeah, totally. Yeah.
Dude, look, so to give y'all a little bit of backstory about me, I grew up as a rough kid, but what's so crazy was even outside of me being a rough kid, I went to school every day. My history teacher, he made history so fun for me that I looked forward to going like,
oh, that's cool.
I've been to prison twice. Like I was a rough kid. I'm talking, I was rough. But I went to school and I graduated with an A average too. Because my history teacher, he made history so fucking fun that he made me want to study it. You know what I'm saying? So even while I was like running the streets and participating in a whole bunch of shit I had no business doing, when I had time, I used to read books. Like my nickname, like for people who know me, like crack jokes on me, is literally the buff ass nerd. Everybody called me a nerd. I'm gonna tell you how much of a nerd I am.
If you're gonna be a nerd, be a buff ass nerd.
Buff ass nerd. You know what I'm saying?
Watch the glasses, though. Watch the glasses.
Right. Man, look, I'm gonna tell you how much of a nerd I am. Right. I read all the Game of Thrones books before I even knew a show existed. I had no idea that a show was even. So my friend Vito, I had read all the books. And Vito said, man, how you feel about the show? And I was like, what show? He was like, there's a show of the Game of Thrones. It was on like season 4 already. I was like, no shit. Dude, I didn't even know it was a show. And I read all, and them books like 800-900 pages long.
Yeah,
I know.
I was lost in them books, dude.
Yeah.
What did you think of the show then after not knowing about it?
So it was kind of fucked up how I watched the show because I started watching the show in season 5. Which means I kind of knew what was going on, and then I wound up going back and I wound up rewatching it. the show gets shitted on way too much because with how in depth that story is in that book, they got a lot of that stuff right. Even with the things that they cut out, like for example, like in the book, Jon Snow isn't Aegon. There's a whole nother character that's Aegon, the descendant of Rhaegar and Lyanna Stark. But no, actually, I take that back. Aegon is a descendant of Rhaegar Targaryen, but I think his mother was that Dornish chick. I forget her name. But he's still alive. In the story, he doesn't. I mean, in the show, he doesn't exist. Even with cutting certain things like that out, the story, the show was still so spot on. Although season 7 and 8 were fucking atrocious, it was still worth watching. You know what I'm saying?
No, I think so too. I mean, those first 4 seasons are like incredible.
The first 4 seasons are amazing. Oh my goodness,
are so good. I mean, like some of the best TV just ever made. But
I mean, the dialogue was so like. And I always ask people, like, people who like real fans of Game of Thrones, I always ask them, if you really, really watch Game of Thrones and you really love it as much as I do, why was Jack and Hagar in Westeros? And it always kind of fucks their head up. You know what I'm saying? But when you think about it, Jack and Hagar, he's an assassin from I'm showing you how much of a nerd I am.
Yeah, no, I know. This is deep. Neil, we're gonna lose Neil real fast, I think.
Neil, you ain't a nerd. Man, you got nerd the fuck out, man.
Show.
I know what you're talking about.
Yeah. Neil, you got to nerd the fuck out, man.
Isn't there just theories on that? Nobody actually knows what he was doing in.
Yes, you do.
Westeros, right?
Yes, you do. No, let's think about this. I'm gonna show you why Jack and Hagar was in Westeros.
All right, tell me.
Jack and Hagar is an assassin from Bravos.
Yeah.
He's a faceless man, which means he can change his face. Yet he was captured and was being sent up to the wall.
Yeah.
An assassin from Bravo that's a faceless man ain't gonna get captured to get sent up by the wall. To get sent up to the wall.
So he's going up there on purpose.
Which means he wanted to be there.
Yeah.
Who else was supposed to be in that caravan with them to go to the wall before Joffrey cut their fucking head off?
Oh, yeah.
Ned Stark.
Yeah.
So if Ned Stark was supposed to be on his way to the wall with an assassin from Bravos that's a faceless man, that means somebody else wanted that assassin to be there. Who in Westeros got that amount of money to pay for that assassin from Bravos and wanted Ned Stark that dead to make all that happen? Littlefinger.
Oh, you think so?
God,
he could have killed him. He could have killed him just like the episode before, right? He could have killed him in the betrayal in the chapel.
He could have killed him in the dungeon. He could have killed him anywhere. But what's the best way to kill a person where it never tracks back to you? Hire a faceless man from Bravos.
We're gonna get too deep into this probably, but
we can stay all fucking day, man.
But if he's already going to the wall, he's kind of out of the picture, right? You take the oath.
No, he's Ned Stark.
You forsake your.
Ned Stark is the Warden of the North. Yeah, he may be the honorable Ned Stark and decide to go to the wall, but what is his bannerman really going to say? Is Ned Stark really that honorable where he's just going to say, fuck being a Warden of the North? Fuck rallying up to go fuck Joffrey up?
He was too honorable to do the smart thing and just, fuck over Stannis, I don't know.
He rolled with Stannis. Remember, he was the one who wrote the letters that said Stannis was.
No, I know, but he could have. I mean, Littlefinger wanted him not to do it, right? Littlefinger was like, "No, you should forget Stannis. Like you have this thing. You can just say you're the regent or the guy in charge now." And
Cersei wasn't going for that shit.
No, but she wouldn't have a. I mean, she would be if Stark was like less honorable and a little more ruthless, she'd have been screwed. She couldn't have, I don't think, done anything,
You always got to take into consideration, at the end of the day, the Starks did participate in a rebellion against their king. He ain't as honorable as what people think he is. He got that gangster in him. He rose up against the king and said, fuck it, we got to kill this bitch ass nigga. Like, we gotta him.
I mean, it goes to shit real fast. Yeah. Hell in a handbasket. Pretty, if Joffrey was king, I think but
not only that, not only his honor on the way up to the wall. What is Ned Stark going to do on his way to take the Black? He's going to tell everybody that Joffrey is a bastard.
Right.
Can't have it happen.
Oh, I see. Well, but would that be Littlefinger then? I don't know.
It could have been. Like, it could have been Cersei. I think it was Littlefinger, but it definitely, it very well could have been a Lannister.
Like, yeah, if you're right, and they don't want the word to get out, it would probably be Cersei, right? Because Littlefinger, I don't think would care, because his whole thing is like chaos is great. If Ned's passing this story around, like I can use that, whereas Cersei would be like, this'll really this'll fuck my shit up. I can't, I can't let this get out.
I'm gonna tell you something. I like the way you think.
Well, I appreciate that. Thank you. I think that's an interesting theory.
I didn't think about it from that point of view. That lets me know you're just as big of a fucking nerd as me.
Man, I was big into the show for sure. Yeah.
That's what's up, man. Well, look, man, I just got to tell y'all, man, I really, appreciate y'all coming onto my platform.
Yeah,
this has been one hell of a fucking time, man.
Yeah, thanks for having us on, man. This was great.
Man, absolutely, man. I wish you brothers nothing but the best, man, in y'all endeavors in the movie industry. I'm actually hoping maybe one day we work together, man. Put something.
Yeah, man. I mean, let's stay in touch. I don't know. Send me stuff about what goes on with your movie.
Yeah,
let's definitely reconnect too. Would love to hear about the project and any way we can help, or even if it's just a BS about it or something, we're happy to jump in on it.
Or, I don't know.
Yeah.
Sure.
I had a bad day.
Right? Yeah, but I definitely, man, I appreciate it, man. I appreciate the support y'all giving me, man, and I definitely look forward to seeing all the great things you brothers gonna put together. Look forward to working with y'all. And everybody that's out there watching, make sure y'all go and watch Outrage. Bad motherfucker, man. Y'all want to see some cyber shit, man? Some motherfuckers crossing each other out. I mean, it ain't the Game of Thrones, but it's a bad motherfucker, though.
Thanks, man.
That's what's up, man. Well, I appreciate everybody for tuning in to the Let's Talk India podcast, and I look forward to seeing y'all in the next one, man. Peace.